right? So extra, it really just means outside, outside the cellular, outside the cell. So believe it or not, our body isn't like Lego bricks packed tight together. There's actually areas between them. And so it's this area outside the cell and it's a matrix, meaning it's not just collagen. It is a complicated group of different proteins, different macromolecules all coming together to form this foundation that our cells sit on. Now, most of you realize this. You just, I guess, maybe have never consciously thought of this. If I was to ask you how often do our skin cells replace themselves, I bet you most of you'd get it right. It's about every 28 to 40 days. Our epidermis cells, the cells that sit on top of us, are replenished. And so you're like, if our skin cells are replenished every 28 to 40 days, why do they keep coming back as wrinkles? Well, it's because the wrinkle isn't actually in the skin cell. The wrinkle is below the skin cell. The wrinkle actually consists to what happens is that extracellular matrix is degraded. And so what happens is the cells on top of that extracellular matrix follow the divot, and that's how a wrinkle is formed. It's no different than a cobblestone path. And why you're these like 1,000-year-old cobblestone paths, you're like, oh my goodness, there's all these rivets in them. You can replace the cobblestones all day long, and they're still going to have the rivets. The cobblestones are great. But what's happened is it's that sandy foundation that those cobblestones were initially set on that degraded or washed away that then forms it. Same as us. We're nothing more than a fancy cobblestone path. And with that, we get wrinkles as that extracellular matrix degrades. Now, I've created a few different collagen products in my life. In fact, collectively, I think they have surpassed multiple billions of dollars. And I have spent a lot of time researching this. And this isn't just collagen, but I'm going to dive in to what makes this special. Because, you'll see a lot of people talk about collagen and these types of things. I will be the first to admit there's so much more to this than just collagen. So let's dive into how we are solving that extracellular matrix problem, not just giving you collagen. All right. So the first thing is this is a three-pronged approach. One, we're going to provide those building blocks. We're going to provide the things that that extracellular matrix needs to grow. So we're going to, like that sand that cobblestone path sits on, we're going to provide that sand. We're going to promote proper integration. This is like the rebarb in that cement or in that concrete. It holds it together and makes it much more fast. We're going to make sure that once we provide those components, that it gets properly integrated and stuck in place. And then we're also going to limit that degradation of that extracellular matrix. So we're going to be stimulating it, we're going to be integrating it, and we're also going to be limiting the rate at which it's degraded. So let's talk through these things. First, let's provide those building blocks. Now, there's numerous things. There's, fibronectins, there's integrins, there's elastins, all of these different things, and collagen. Now, Mark was right. As we age, the amount of collagen that we have in our extracellular matrix goes down. But the reason it goes down is because we don't make as much. That's right. Our body, as we get old, it gets a little lazy. The collagen is actually made inside the cell and then it's shipped out in small little pieces because collagen, when it's fully assembled, is like 20 times the size of a cell. And so what it does is it makes it inside the little cell and it shuttles out the little pieces. And those little pieces then get integrated together and it becomes really strong and it provides that strong tensile strength. And so in this, well, our body, it just gets lazy, right? As it gets older, it's like, hey, let's not make as much collagen. And because degradations constantly happen, that uh, that extracellular matrix then begins to have those divots in them, and that manifests itself as wrinkles and other things. So now this is where it's weird, right? No other thing out there would you say, hey, if you have bad eyesight, you know what you need to do is eat some cow eyeballs. That just doesn't make sense, right? Like that's not going to help my eyesight. Hey, if you have a bad liver, I need you to eat a liver. Well, no, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. And why would it make sense then if I have poor collagens? Why would I eat collagen? Well, it's because of this one little thing, hydroxyproline. So let's go to this next slide right here. Mark touched on this. So hydroxyproline, it is an amino acid, but it's not one of your 20 common amino acids. And so what it is it's proline, but what happens is it's called a post-translational modification, meaning proline, which is a very common amino acid, it puts a hydroxy group on it. And all of a sudden, that amino acid is a little different. And so, collagen is really the only protein in our body that utilizes hydroxyproline. And so, what we do is when the body actually is able to absorb that hydroxyproline, that amino acid, which is, a one millionth the size of a collagen, what happens is when it absorbs that one tiny little building block, it stimulates the production of your own collagen. Because the body only uses hydroxyproline for collagen, when all of a sudden you take in an amount of hydroxyproline, what it does is it signals to the body is like, hey, I can't do anything with this. The only thing that this is good for is collagen. And so what it does is it fires up your cellular machinery to start making collagen. So that hydroxyproline is the building block of collagen, but the only place where it exists is in collagen. That is why when you eat collagen, it stimulates your own collagen. So what we did is we selectively found that which has the most hydroxyproline. That's right, scoured all of the different types of collagens out there, found the one that is enriched in the most amount of hydroxyproline to stimulate your own collagen production. Now, it's one thing that it has the most hydroxyproline, right? Because remember, these molecules are huge. Collagen molecules are gigantic. And so hydroxyproline is a tiny little building block that's put together in multiple repetitive parts of it. So we need to break it down. And so we hydrolyze it. That makes it exceptionally absorbable. And so we can go to this next slide. This is, I want you guys to pay attention to this. This is so important. This is going to like squash all of this crazy stuff on the internet. If you look at this peptide, so this means 2 amino acids, 3 amino acids, 5 amino acids, 8 amino acids. They're on that x-axis. And so what we've done is we've hydrolyzed this down to 3 amino acids, where it's your hydroxyproline, proline, and another amino acid. We'll go into that in the next slide. And so we're getting incredible bioavailability. If you go back to that previous slide. Now, this is what's crazy is a lot of people are saying, hey, look at these giant peptides, blah, 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 take them. I want you to show it takes right when you're at about 15 amino acids, your body can't absorb it. It's just too big. So what we've done is we've made sure that we are giving you that hydrolyzed collagen, meaning that we've broken them down into those 3 amino acid repetitive sequences, that glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. What happens is now we're getting incredible absorption that is happening. That hydroxyproline is now stimulating our own collagen production. Boom, off the charts, huge collagen production. So let's go into this next slide. So now that we have stimulated the collagen, we want to make sure it gets integrated. As I said before, our cells, it's making it, but it makes it in tiny little bits. And it shoves it outside the cells into that extracellular matrix. And then it's important that all of those collagen pieces get assembled together to make those giant collagen structures. And so what this is that requires an intermediate components. Copper is by far one of the most powerful intermediate components that it is to help stimulate that. In fact, there's the enzyme that allows for that integration of that collagen in that extracellular matrix requires copper to function. So that's why we've integrated why we've put the copper in here, is because now not only are we stimulating that collagen production, we're also providing that copper to make sure that once it gets shuttled out of the cells, it's getting properly fastened together and it's getting integrated into that extracellular matrix. Because if it's not integrated quickly, it will just quickly degrade again. We're about making long-term great results, not just pumping you full of a whole bunch of collagen and calling it good. Now, in addition to this, we can actually go to this next slide, right? We talked about this copper and so forth. Let's go to this next slide. One more. Forward. But we also want to limit that degradation. Now, I'm from Arizona. In Australia, you may not know what Arizona is, but it is, I think, no joke, it is the sunniest place in at least in America. I think out of 365 days a year, we have sun like 340, right? So the sun is out all the time. It's great. It is a wonderful place to live. The only thing that does not like the sun is that extracellular matrix. Ultraviolet light, it will bypass your epidermis layers, some of it, a lot of it gets absorbed for sunburn. But once it passes that epidermis layer, it actually stimulates what are called a heat shock protein. Those heat shock proteins degrade collagen. This is why individuals who live out in the sun or out in the sun all the time seem to age more aggressively. It's because what's happening is that they are stimulating what certain heat shock proteins that are degrading that extracellular matrix. And so what this is utilizing this white tomato extract. It actually helps limit the absorption or the penetration of that ultraviolet light coming into that extracellular matrix that below that epidermal layer. Now, this is so cool because now what we've done is we have solved those three critical things to give you a complete foundational beauty product. No other company has ever done this. This is absolutely remarkable. We've maximized the absorption, we've given you the proper components to maximize integration, and we're also limiting the rate at which that extracellular matrix is degraded. It is a complete beauty solution. Now let's go on to this next side here. And this is why I believe that this is one of the most powerful products that you can take to really help you not only maintain for those individuals that are under 30, you're going to want to do this to maintain that, right? For those individuals that are over 30, such as myself, we're wanting to do this to actually increase that. And we've seen those incredible before and afters. And so we are wanting to make sure that when individuals utilize this product, that they understand just the remarkable science that is behind this. Because the Partner Co brand is so much more powerful than just simply putting products in or ingredients into a tub and calling it good. The actual power behind the science of delivering powerful solutions that no other company can touch is definitely a Partner Co brand that I'm absolutely excited to back. Thank you, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm looking forward to go back into Australia. And with that, back to you, Alana.
Thank you, Dr. Joshua Plant. Yeah, Paula, give it up for Dr. Joshua Plant. I said we are so blessed to have him. There is nobody that breaks down the science like you. So thank you so much for everything that you do. You make it so easy for us to understand. Everybody is lighting up in the chat for how incredible you are, and we are so grateful to have you